The epic Avengers Endgame gave us plenty of incredible and memorable scenes. However, we still couldn't help thinking about the great moments that it hinted at that we didn't get to see.
Thanos did exactly what he said he was going to do. He wiped out 50% of all living creatures.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're breaking down the best Endgame moment we'll never get to see. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. If you haven't seen Endgame yet, you might want to grab a ticket now because there's nothing but spoilers ahead. Given Endgame's massive cast of characters, we understand why there wasn't enough time to explore every hero's storyline in depth. We didn't get to see Nebula and Rocket's adventures in space, the birth of Professor Hulk, or Korg's Fortnite skills. But the most tantalizing scene that we missed was the meeting between Captain America and Red Skull.
Arrogance may not be a uniquely American trait, but I must say you do it better than anyone.
After Thanos snapped away half of all life in the universe with the Infinity Stones, the Avengers decide to take the stones back and reverse the snap. But when they discover Thanos destroyed them not long after the snap, the Avengers travel to the past to collect them. In their quest to acquire the Soul Stone, Hawkeye and Black Widow journey to the planet Vormir. When they arrive, the Red Skull is waiting for them. After he explains that the stone requires its wielder to sacrifice a loved one, Black Widow tragically gives up her life so Hawkeye can take it. Once the Avengers bring all the snap victims back and defeat Thanos, Captain America volunteers to return all of the Infinity Stones. This meant that he had to go to Vormir and face the Red Skull.
We all think that at first. We are all wrong.
What makes their meeting so interesting is the complex and entangled history between the two. During World War II, Red Skull, also known as Johann Schmidt, led Hydra, an evil organization that worked closely with the Axis powers.
I can do this all day. Oh, of course you can, of course. But unfortunately, I am on a tight schedule.
This ruthless leader used the Space Stone, also known as the Tesseract, to make powerful weapons and kill anyone who stood in his way. And because Schmidt wasn't dangerous enough already, he took an experimental super soldier serum that made him stronger, but severely disfigured him.
You see, I was his greatest success.
One of those, do you?
While he prepared for conquest, a young Steve Rogers desperately tried to enlist in the US Army. Despite his enthusiasm and pure heart, he was rejected multiple times because of his poor health. However, Dr. Abraham Erskine saw his potential and nominated Rogers for a super soldier project. Using a perfected version of the super soldier serum, he transformed Rogers into the powerful Captain America.
How'd you feel?
Taller.
You look taller.
After clashing a few times throughout the film, Cap's final showdown with Red Skull takes place on a plane loaded with Tesseract-powered bombs. During their struggle, the Red Skull picks up the Tesseract and is seemingly killed. We learn in Infinity War that he was actually transported to Vormir.
In order to take the stone, you must lose that which you love.
Although Cap triumphed over his foe, he was unable to land the plane safely. Instead, he elected to crash it to prevent any loss of life. Fortunately for him, he survived by being frozen in ice. Unfortunately, Cap wasn't thawed out until nearly 70 years after the crash.
You gonna be okay?
Yeah, I had a date.
While Cap helped save the Earth as an Avenger out of time, Schmidt was cursed to guide anyone who sought the Soul Stone on Vormir. After almost 8 decades of being kept apart, their paths crossed once more. Unfortunately, it all happened off-screen. Based on their history, it'd be easy to assume that these two would duke it out. After all, Cap has every right to blame Red Skull for being frozen and losing out on a life with Peggy. At the same time, Red Skull might have held a grudge against Cap for ruining his plot. That said, the Red Skull we see on Vormir is nothing like the one we see in the first Avenger. And no, we're not referring to the fact that it's a different actor.
If they cut off one head, two more shall take its place. Hail Hydra.
After years of solitude as some sort of ghostly presence in service of the Soul Stone, he probably doesn't have much humanity left in him.
A lifetime ago, I too sought the stones. I even held one in my hand. But it cast me out, banished me here, guiding others to a treasure I cannot possess.
Even if they didn't throw any punches, they definitely spoke. Their conversation would have emphasized how different they've become since they last saw each other. Since they last met, heroism has become a lot more complicated for Captain America.
Every time someone tries to win a war before it starts, innocent people die. Every time.
His moral compass was constantly challenged by the modern and morally gray world. At the same time, he was expected to stand as a symbol of American strength and goodness. Although he didn't become completely cynical, he's more conflicted about his role than he was in the 1940s.
Who's strong and brave here to save the American way?
Not all of us can storm a beach or drive a tank, but there's still a way all of us can fight.
Who vows to fight like the man for what's right night and day?
While Red Skull was first introduced as an arrogant and ruthless commander,
You don't give up, do you? Nope.
his latest appearances paint him as sorrowful and reserved. His commanding voice has been replaced with a quiet tone. The villain's dreams of conquest have been abandoned in the face of his endless punishment.
In order to take the stone, you must lose that which you love.
Again, it's unclear how much of the original Red Skull remains. But seeing a humbled version of Red Skull speaking to a hardened Captain America is a great twist on their dynamic.
Captain America! How exciting! I am a great fan of your films.
No matter what they talked about, their conversation likely spoke volumes about how much they had changed.
What made you so special?
Nothing. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
The most tragic part of the meeting we missed centered around the fate of Black Widow, also known as Natasha Romanoff. Steve and Natasha had grown closer as allies and friends as the years went by.
You do anything fun Saturday night?
Well, all the guys from my barbershop quartet are dead, so no, not really.
Coming up on the drop zone, Cap.
They risked their lives for each other and stood by one another in difficult times.
What about the nurse that lives across the hall from you? She seems kind of nice.
Secure the engine room, then find me a date.
I'm multitasking.
But in the end, Cap wasn't around when she made the ultimate sacrifice. Given Cap's habit of risking his life for his friends, it's likely he'd take a chance on Vormir to bring back Natasha.
You've been busy, and you've been a complete idiot.
This required him to do the unimaginable and ask Red Skull for help to restore her.
This is gonna work, Steve.
I know it is. Because I don't know what I'm gonna do if it doesn't.
Cap may have even offered to exchange his own soul for hers. Since Natasha doesn't make an appearance by the end of the movie, he was unable to pull off a miracle. However, seeing him ask Red Skull for guidance would have made for a harrowing yet compelling scene.
But I must say you do it better than anyone. But there are limits to what even you can do, Captain.
There are so many ways their meeting might have unfolded that we'd probably need the time stone to see all the possibilities. But we don't need its power to know that this moment should have been included. After fighting multiple supervillains and protecting the world, Steve ended up facing his first foe. As for Red Skull, he's forced to confront the hero who gave him his final defeat after decades of isolation from the world. No matter what they chose to do when they came face to face, their meeting would have been full of history and dramatic weight. It's a shame we didn't get to travel alongside Cap to see these enemies meet for the last time.
Really? Tears?
They're not for him.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.